What's up, everyone? We have some more details about some early ideas for Predator Badlands. During a video interview with the Direct, Dan goes over many topics about the making of Badlands. One topic they bring up is making a new AvP movie, and Dan simply tells them there has to be a right time for this to happen. These two franchises need to do their own thing for a while and let things happen naturally over time. I think this could be done as they do more Alien and Predator films. They could insert small connections or teasers of the other species, and sometime down the road, they could make a big connection between them that could lead into a new AvP story or film. One of the early ideas for Badlands was to put the Predator in the time period of World War II, but this idea was then changed, and the Predator was then put on some alien planet called Genna, which took place far into the future. Dan goes over an early idea where the Predator would win, but he was trying to avoid making a simple slasher movie, so one idea is during World War II with Nazis. Well, I guess he could be like set in World War II, and he's kicking Nazi butt or something, but even then, I felt like that's not really a special new movie, and then it became, wait a second, what if he's really the protagonist of his own story? And I get people to really root for him on his own journey, his own adventure. The comic books have incidents with the Predator. One took place in Vietnam around 1968. Some Predators would be seen during the War of 1914. One story did show Predators hunting Nazis. They burned down an entire village and took one survivor. They used him to lead them to a cave full of gold. But instead, they found a Predator, and all the Nazis were eliminated. One of the issues that some people don't like about the movie is the inclusion of a female synthetic character, but Dan has said this movie is about relationships, while it still has a lot of action and gore. The story touches on Deck's issues with his current family, and how that becomes disconnected, and how he forms relationships with a synthetic and Bud the alien. Deck would learn that hunting together can sometimes be better than hunting alone. When his own people abandoned him, Deck later forms his own family or clan. And one source of inspiration for this is Terminator 2, which also uses similar ideas. T2 is about family, friendships, emotions, but it also contains a great story and action scenes. Some people don't like the idea of seeing female humans fighting with predators or against them, but they kind of did this already, like in Prey and also AvP from 2004. Now, they've had stories in the comics where humans would help predators in battle, and in some cases, the humans were respected because they fought against dangerous prey, and they would either be marked in some way by the Yautja, or they would exchange items as a souvenir from that battle. Dan Trachtenberg also reveals two big Easter eggs in Predator Badlands. During another interview with Raiders of the Lost podcast, at the very end, Dan says that you can see Nadu in Badlands. And also the creature in Killer of Killers, which is called the Backbiter. Dan said this one can also be seen in Predator Badlands somewhere. So I'll have to watch the movie again and see where these two characters would appear.
Well, here's what I'll say, since you guys are about to you can now look for it. But there is, if you look closely, you can see Nadu in the movie in Badlands, and you can also see the Backbiter, the creature that from the end of Killer of Killers, somewhere in Badlands. And you know, thank you guys for having me on.
The last thing I want to mention is the scene with Tessa using the mech to fight against the Kalisk in Badlands is almost a mirror image of Ripley using a power loader versus the Queen Alien in the movie Aliens. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you later.